catastrophically falling birth rates, well below the replacement level.
It's entirely possible that the French will disappear. There will be no native-born French that come from the traditional French population.
What some call the demographic winter of Western societies.
For those of us who were raised to believe in the teachings of Thomas Malthus or Charles Darwin, for example, these trends are very hard to absorb.
Welcome back to The Ed Show. For the first time ever, most babies being born in the United States are non-white. Non-Hispanic white children under age 2 make up less than half, according to the Census Bureau and other statistics. Babies of a racial or ethnic minority, when combined, make up more than half. By the middle of this century, racial and ethnic minorities will together become the majority in America, and non-white Hispanic whites will be in the minority. It's a huge shift happening, and one that has been long predicted. Just to give you an idea of how big a shift this is, 80% of seniors 65 years of age or older are white. 73% of Americans age 45 to 64 are white. Unfortunately, this is the kind of shift that causes fear among some Americans. Fears about race and fears about immigration. It helps perpetuate cruel laws against immigrants. There are even those who want to revoke birthright citizenship for some, even though it's in the Constitution. Some people are afraid of change in this country, but the truth is, the only thing normal is change.
The Census Bureau has taken a new snapshot of America, and it shows some dramatic changes and predicts still more ahead. For one thing, the new report says more than 4 out of 10 Americans under the age of 20 belong to racial or ethnic minorities. And in nearly 1 in 10 counties, minorities are now the majority. Nancy Cordes has more.
The census figures reveal a new reality in America's classrooms. Minority populations are climbing everywhere.
The white population, I wouldn't say is fading into the background, but it is becoming the older, less fertile part of the population.
When demographer William Fry crunched the data, he found huge jumps in the Hispanic population, far from the traditional melting pots. Up 21% in St. Joseph, Missouri, up 17% in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and 15% in Pascagoula, Mississippi, all in just 1 year's time.
You're seeing it everywhere. People are going for jobs. They're going because they want the American dream.
Whites still make up 66% of the population, but their numbers have grown only 2% since 2000, compared to 8% for blacks, 29% for Hispanics, and 26% for Asians.
It's tough because we're still seen as being either inconsequential or that we're not even really Americans.
The changes are forcing school systems to adjust to new fault lines fast. In Maryland's Montgomery County outside Washington, D.C., the schools went from mostly white in the 1990s to 60% minorities today.
As the diversity changed, the poverty changed.
The superintendent dropped class sizes, boosted literacy programs, and now sends pamphlets to parents in 6 different languages.
If you don't have a plan to accommodate the diversity and the poverty and the language, your community is going to have a train wreck.
The Census Bureau has long predicted that whites would drop below 50% of the population by the year 2050. This new data suggests that shift could come far sooner. Nancy Cordes, CBS News, Washington.
Now it's time for my word. Do your duty. Make more babies. That's the lesson drawn out of 2 interesting stories over the last couple of days. First, a story yesterday that half of the kids in this country under 5 years old are minorities. By far the greatest number are Hispanic. Know what that means? 25 years and the majority population is Hispanic. Why is that? Well, Hispanics are having more kids, and others, notably the ones Hispanics called gabachos, white people, are having fewer. Now, in this country, European ancestry people, white people, are having kids at the rate that does sustain the population. It grows a bit. That compares to Europe, where the birth rate is in the negative zone. They're not having enough babies to sustain their population. Consequently, they're inviting in more and more immigrants every year to take care of things, and those immigrants are having way more babies than the native population, hence Eurabia. Why aren't they having babies? Because babies get in the way of a prosperous and comfortable modern life. peanut butter fingerprints on the leather seats in the BMW. The Euros are in particular can't be bothered with kids. Underscore that second point, a second story today reports that Vladimir Putin is so concerned about the declining and imploding population of Russia, he is paying couples to have babies. Imagine, procreating for cash in Mother Russia. Putin has taken this step because at the rate things are going, Russia will lose close to 45 million in population in the next 45 years. Russia will be 2/3 of today's population. This is not a good trend for Russia. And it won't be here either if that should happen. Put it bluntly, we need more babies. Forget about that zero population growth stuff that my poor generation was misled on. Why is this important? Because civilizations need population to survive. So far, we're doing our part here in America, but Hispanics can't carry the whole load. The rest of you get busy. Make babies. Or put another way, a slogan for our times. Procreation, not recreation. That's my word.
Cosmic synchronicity has pulled his card. But what has he done now? He has now created the cloning. Like the brother said, cloning ain't for you. You don't need cloning. Who's going to benefit from clothing? Cloning, anything that he does for himself. Especially when it comes to survival. Cloning is his last ditch effort to survive. Like brother said, he is at 0 birth rate. Hey, I feel for you. I feel for you. But I can't help you. When a time has come, and a time has come, a time has come. And I don't give a damn what you think, you can't stop the time.
The Associated Press just reported that whites are now a minority of those being born in America. European American babies are less than 5 out of every 10 babies born and are projected to be less than 1 out of 10 births in just a few decades. This differential in birth rates, coupled with massive illegal immigration, which is almost entirely non-European, and legal immigration, which is over 90% non-European, means that unless a political sea change occurs, white Americans will ultimately be not only a minority in the nation that our people founded, but a tiny minority, well on its way to political and physical obliteration by the end of this century.